staff.
Get ready, get ready. It's Let's Talk Business with SJC, and I'm here with my co-host. Welcome. This is now your first official show, Mrs. Kalia Campbell O'Neill of KCD Designs. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. So glad to be here today.
I know if we could just bottle up our enthusiasm for today's show, we would have it going on. But this show is going to have to go viral because the youth are doing some incredible things, which leads us to our hot topic, couture designs. You are a couture design, but you've got some little ones there who many are creating their first stitch, their first time at the sewing machine. And let me take this opportunity to say to my summer intern, who is preparing to go back and work on her postgraduate degree. But Diamond McCullough, it's been a joy to have you with us this summer. And when Diamond told me she had a sewing machine and wasn't proficient with its use, I thought, let's pair these two together and see if we can have Diamond sewing by the time she leaves, which is in about a week, to go back to school. But Diamond, we love you. We appreciate you. Our doors will always be open to you, and we're better for it for having you come in and spend your summer with us. So now, the show. Catch the show today to our Facebook listeners, our YouTubers, our social media, all of you that will be all up in your soul fashion business. And that being said, we have the opportunity and the pleasure to learn a little more, or to you all anyway, learn a little more about KCD Designs and what's happening this summer in the Soul SCW Fun Academy. So you told us a little bit the last time you were on the second, actually, no, this is the fourth hour of the show. The month is over. Can you share with us a little bit about your desire to want to learn to sew, and you took that initiative and did like a lot of our young people do today. You go and Google everything or find a YouTube video, and before you know it, you have it down pat. So, but you're there, but now for the last month, and walk us through this summer experience and the whole Soul Fun Academy. Kalia.
Thank you. So this summer has been amazing. The girls have learned so many things this year at So Fun Academy. I have a total of 15 students currently this week. I have one student that's out, and this week we're preparing for our fashion show, which will be held this Friday. And so last week and this week was considered to be our fashion week. And it really has been an amazing fashion week, like a real fashion week for them. I'm just amazed at their level of skill for sewing and for what they've learned in such a short amount of time. When I started out sewing, it took me longer to learn what I learned. With them, I guess because they're so young, they grasp things so quickly, and to them, it's just so natural. My youngest student that I have is 5 years old, which is Leia. And she is just so amazing. I'm laughing because she's hilarious. And Cheryl and I have been talking about her.
I am in love with her.
Yes, and she's just amazing. And then my oldest is 13. I actually have four 13-year-olds, which one of them is my assistant. Her name is Julie, and she's on the flyer. And Julie started attending the So Fun Academy sessions back last year during the summer, and also during my Saturday sewing lessons. And she has made several items. Like,
awesome.
She blew me away last week. Last week she went home and she made a dress over the weekend, and she wore it to camp Monday morning. And when she came in, I was like, did you make that dress? Because this is my first time helping her make something. Well, I mean, this is my first time not helping her make something. Like, she went home and did it on her own. And the stitching and everything was perfect. She used a pattern. She used a pattern that I never used before. And her mom told me it was a little bit difficult. She got frustrated, but she got through it. And so the girls have just learned so much over the last 8 weeks. This is the last week of the sewing camp. And then we'll start back our Saturday lessons in August 7th.
Man, you don't even take a break.
I do not get any breaks at all during the summer sessions.
Okay, so your summer, when you start back in August with the Saturday classes, is that just for a short period of time, or does it go on for quite a while?
So it's every Saturday from 11 to 2 p.m. for the entire year. And then of course the camp, yes, the camp is during summer and winter break and Thanksgiving break. So there's sewing lessons that are held every single Saturday.
You know, when I'm watching your kids, I'm just so enthralled with them. I can't help but watch these videos, and I'm catching a lot of them on Facebook. And I wonder, and I even think back to my grandkids, they just seem to be just so creative and so quick. And I'm thinking a lot of it has to do with the technology and the games that they're playing with today, and they're learning. And because if you give a child your phone, I mean, I've learned from them. They take your phone and they're installing stuff and moving past. You're like, whoa, wait a minute, what is that?
Yes.
And it's almost like they have no fear of nothing, and they can grasp stuff so quickly because, and I know my audience is just going to fall in love with all of your students, but that 5-year-old, she is the bomb. She is amazing. And I want to just take this time out to just say congratulations to all of your students, because you are great. You are masterful to be able to use your craft and work with such little ones and help them and have amazing patience in order to be able to get that done.
Yes, ma'am.
So are we ready to maybe just kind of take a little tour around your class?
Yes. So,
well, actually, this is your Sewing Studio Academy.
Yeah, so I'm going to actually go ahead and go to Leia first. She's getting set up right now, and she's working on the hem of her dress. So I'm going to let her get her area together.
Well, while you're doing that, listen, if you are watching this show, please share this video, share it after the show is over with. You all have got to see these incredible children and their creativity and what they're doing. And we need to support them. We need to support So Fun Academy. If you're looking for a business to support, whether it's your time, your talent, or your treasure, hey, send resources their way. They can use them because, all right, take a look. There she is.
This is Leia. Leia, say hello.
This is Leia.
So this is Leia. And right now she's pinning the hem of her dress.
Amazing.
Leia, how old are you? 5. Why do you like
hello,
to
Leia?
Say hello. Say hello. She's a little shy.
She's like, I'm busy. I mean, look at her. She's working with her pens.
Yep, she's working with her pens. She has her needle threaded. She has her bobbin threaded. She has
and your students can do all of that?
Yes, they do all of this on their own. Yes, ma'am.
Now, what type of machine does she have? I'm trying to see the name.
She's using a Singer Start machine.
That's what I started with. That's the only machine I've ever used.
Singer Start. Singer is my favorite. And then I have several other students that are using Brother machines as well.
So you have 15 students. Do you have that many sewing machines as well?
Yes, and majority of the students, they have their own sewing machines. When they started the class, of course, several of them did not have a sewing machine, but after coming to the class, their parents said, well, we're going to invest in them and we're going to go out and buy their own sewing machine. So practically almost all my students have their own sewing machine. And then for those who don't have sewing machines, I have several sewing machines that they can utilize.
Well, you know what? So, we have to start a donate a sewing machine campaign, because I think what you're doing is just incredible. I don't know, Diamond, and maybe Diamond, you can attest to this. I know when I was going to school, it was called home economics, and we got to make a complete outfit. And I don't think that's part of, I think it's consumer science today. But do they still sew in high school?
No, they do not.
Only certain schools. I know that Blake High School has a performing arts program and like an arts program, and they do costume design, because there's a young lady at my church. She's a part of that. She's a part of that program, and she's actually getting ready to go off to college for fashion design, because that's
congratulations. Well, you know, that's a performing arts school, so they may be a little different.
Yep. So that's the only school that I know that does the sewing and the costume design and all of that. But other than that, I don't think there's any other high school or middle school that's doing the home ec with the sewing and cooking, even the cooking. Yeah, I don't think they're doing that right now.
Well, they need to find So Fun Academy.
Yes, they do.
I mean, that should be a requirement. I taught my kids to sew. I figured it was something that was taught to me, and so I taught them. I remember my son. We made bathrobes for everybody in the family. My husband, at that time, it was just I had the one son, and I made one for myself. And I decided we're going to keep those as keepsakes. And so my son learned to sew and was very good at it. Made a complete outfit. Do you have any males in your sewing academy, Kylie?
So I currently do not have any males in my sewing academy. However, I have taught two male students before, which was my brother and also my brother-in-law. My brother-in-law came down one summer, right before COVID hit, which was last year. He came down back, I think it was in February, March. And he had an interest in sewing, which I never knew that he had an interest in sewing. And he told me he did. And so my husband took him to Joann Fabrics and he went and picked out some materials. Yes. My husband drove him literally to like 4 different Joanns to find fabrics for him to make a shirt. And he was able to find the materials and he brought back the pattern. And I showed him how to make his first shirt within 3 hours. He had it done.
Wait a minute. I'm a seamstress. So I must ask, was this a button-down shirt?
No, this was not. This was like a knit pullover shirt. It was like a 2-tone, like one pattern here and another pattern here. It was very, very, very nice. But
when I used to sew the shirts, we could buy the collars, like the polo shirts, and we could buy the collars and attach them separately. So that was a lot of fun.
Yes.
So now what's happening? So we got a chance to kind of see all of your students doing their thing.
So yes, here's Aliana. She's working with sequin. She's working with tulle. She has a 1-shoulder gown going on. She's sewing her bodice. She's hemming her neckline. Sequin pillow. Yes, the girls wanted to work with sequin. I have Julie over here. She has her sleeves on. She has a little sequin going on with the crushed satin. She has her darts. She has a lot.
Wow. I'm impressed.
We have Diosta. She's over here working on some accessories. She made a mask to match her dress. 2-tone, 2 different colors. Then we have Danielle.
Hey,
She's
Danielle.
Working. Say hi. Hi. Danielle is 13. And then
what is Danielle putting on hers? Is that an attachment?
So Danielle's fabric has 2 colors. So this is the sparkle side, beautiful. And this is the satin side. And she's doing a double hem right now on the bottom.
You go, Danielle.
And then we have Ella. Say hi, Ella.
Oh, look at Ella. Yes.
And Ella is working on, she made a sequin duster and a sequin dress. So it's a 2-piece. And so right now she's working on, I think she's doing her hemming as well. So that's just a little sneak peek.
That is beautiful.
And then we have Davis. She has sequin and tulle as well. And she's attaching her tulle to her bodice. She's actually making a skater dress. And the tulle on the bottom is going to make it poof out a little bit. And there's Ella's duster that she's working on.
Oh. So you actually had to convert your studio into this sewing classroom.
Yes. Yes, I did.
I'm just totally impressed. These kids, I was an adult before I ever even entertained sewing with sequins. Sequins and taffeta. Taffeta, I was like, I don't care if I don't ever sew with taffeta again.
I do not like taffeta at all. It is so stiff. The type of taffeta that my clients love is very stiff, hard.
And it's constantly moving the whole time you're sewing. My sister-in-law, when she got married, I made some of the gowns and they were taffeta. And I remember sewing my sister-in-law's last gown and I was hoping to go into labor because I really did not want to finish that gown. But my son didn't come until after the wedding.
Wow.
So now, can we pivot? Because I just want to hear diamonds response after seeing 15 kids, the youngest 5 to 13, and it appeared that having them do this live did not faze them one bit.
Not one.
What say you, Diamond?
Well, actually, I got my first sewing machine. I got this sewing machine. This is the only one I've ever had when I was 9. I've had this since I was 9. And my Nana tried to show me the basics, how to thread the bobbin, all the basics to get started. But, it took her a while to kind of explain it to me. So I won't say lost interest, but I was like, oh, this is too much. I'm going to have to come back to it.
I know how that feels.
But my mom, because I was saying I wanted to be a fashion designer. So I have swatches. I have all the little outlines for Joann's to make blouses. I have fabrics. I have the whole 9. But I kind of just never went back to it. And now that I'm getting into my older age, I think that it's really important, a really good life skill, honestly, to know how to utilize a sewing machine, how to put the buttons back on, how to fix a zipper, because, sometimes zippers, they rip at the seam. All of those things are really, really important. So now I'm really trying to get back into it. But I look at these younger kids, I'm just wow, maybe I should have, stayed more diligent into completing this and really being well at it.
Well, Kylie, Diamond brought her sewing machine, as you can see, to the office.
Yes, she did.
And I'm impressed with that. And when you were helping her earlier. So what happened? Was it your bobbin that you weren't able to kind of lock it in?
Yeah, so I took out the, they call it the timer piece.
Yeah.
So you put that for?
Yeah, I took that out because the bobbin, the thread was all tangled up in it. And so I had to take that out, place it back in properly, then put the circular piece on top of that, and then put the bobbin back in. My main issue with this is I always get my bobbin, the thread tangled. So what would you recommend to, reduce that?
So the machine that you're working on, I absolutely do not like those types of machines because they are so difficult to work with because of the jamming and the tangling. It happens a lot. I actually have 3 students with that same exact machine. And I feel like that's why they probably upgraded the machines now to where the bobbin casing, you could just drop the bobbin in the bobbin holder and slide on the part on the top and just go. Because with the machine that you have, it just is you can't really avoid it. You just have to make sure you're doing every single step correctly and it will jam. I don't know. It's just something with those types of machines with those bobbins. So you may have to upgrade your machine to something a little bit more less complicated, because I think it is complex for that type of machine with that bobbin. Okay. And if you miss one step, it throws the entire machine off. Even if you miss a step with threading the thread through all the different numbers, if you miss any of that, it'll automatically jam the bobbin. Yeah. So you just have to it's just very tedious.
Yeah, and sometimes I forget to lift the thread up and I'm breaking the needle, then I have to replace the needle. It's a fiasco.
Yeah.
And that's enough to make you want to quit. So we have to send you. Well, let me ask, Kylie, have you thought about doing a virtual Sew Fun Academy class?
So I have. It was just a matter of time. And I am looking to do something like that, possibly during the week, maybe in the evenings. I do have quite a few clients that live, in different states and different places, and they would love to learn how to sew. Several people have asked me to start a YouTube channel and just do stuff like that so they can learn. So I am definitely going to do that this upcoming fall. So I'll be transitioning into doing some online Zoom and online YouTube classes.
Well, I'm sure Diamond will appreciate that. Yes. Well, let me see, Diamond, will we get to see you maybe do a stitch on your machine, or is it good to go?
Yeah, it's ready to go.
Listen, you can't let the students out.
I believe it is ready to go.
We at least when this is over, we want little Miss Leah to be able to see what you did.
Yes.
Okay.
Drum roll.
Okay.
We don't want to make Diamond nervous, but she is sewing live on Let's Talk Business with SJC, and I'm here with my designer, Mrs. Kylie Campbell O'Neill. And so these girls are making their debut on Let's Talk Business. And I love the way we'll flip that screen so we can see. Oh, there we go.
Okay.
No, you're good, girl.
Okay. All right. This is just a like fabric I practice on, like my stitches. So give me 1 second here.
Oh, she's going live.
All righty. Here goes nothing.
No, here goes something.
I mean, you got it.
Uh-oh.
It's sewing.
Yes.
Looks great.
Go, Diamond. Go, Diamond. Go, Diamond.
Okay. All right.
All right. Now, what do you do when you get to the end?
You have a very quiet sewing machine. I love that.
1 second here. I'm gonna cut
Look
it.
at her. I wonder if her sewing machine has the thread cutter on the back and she just doesn't know it, Kalia.
Does your sewing machine have a thread cutter on the back or the left side?
Where should I be looking?
On the left side, there's a. I'll show you.
It may be back there, right on the channel.
So right here, or sometimes on the back. This is
You know, she did say she got her
side.
sewing machine when she was.
So this is my machine and it's on the side here.
Mhm.
Okay.
And this machine here is also like further towards the back and it looks like this.
I don't see that.
Okay. Well, if your surface
It may
is
not
completely
have it
smooth,
because
it might not be
Ella-
there.
Ella has the same machine as you and it doesn't have it. So it may not have.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
That's why Ella had her scissors up when we saw her
Yes.
earlier.
Yes.
Oh my goodness. Congratulations, Diamond. You got that machine going. Let's hopefully you'll dust it off. Look at that.
I don't know if you guys can see the stitches I've been
can.
practicing with. Hold on 1 second.
And it's a straight stitch. It didn't bundle up.
No, actually.
That looks great.
All right. Well, you should be ready to go. You should take your machine back to school with you.
I
And
am.
Diamond is leaving here. Tell us where you're headed, Diamond.
I'm actually going to Western Kentucky University to pursue my master's in psychology. So yeah, well, I'm really excited to see how, this adventure goes.
And you know what? That's a great field that you're in because as we have evolved out of this pandemic, I have heard nothing but mental health, mental stress. And so you are going into a field that's wide open and you'll get to be part of hopefully a lot of studies and work with a number of medical facilities so that you can come back here and just be a blessing to this community.
Yes, that is the goal.
So how do you feel? You got that swatch done.
I'm actually really excited. Could I ask you what kind of thread would you recommend when working with like heavy duty material or fabrics?
So, okay, so for thread, I would say all-purpose thread is good, and also Gutermann thread. Gutermann thread is actually one of my favorite brands because it sews very well and very smooth. And I can show you what it looks like. I might as well. I think I should just keep the.
Well, if you put that name in the chat, we'll certainly post it with our thank you post because others probably want the answer to that question as well.
So it looks like this.
Okay.
I'm gonna switch it over.
See, we just call that heavy duty thread, commercial thread.
Yeah, I when you're working with different fabrics, it doesn't really as far as the thread. I don't know if it's coming up if you can see that.
We see it perfectly.
Yeah.
Okay, good. So as far as thread goes, the thread, it just depends on what you're working with, but the needle is what's important. So like if you're working with heavy duty fabrics, I would say the needle is what you need to make sure that it goes through properly, which you can use a heavy duty needle. And so like when we're working with sequins, we use all-purpose thread, which works great, the Gutermann thread. And then we use the heavy duty needles, which makes sure that it doesn't break when it's going in and out of the sequin. If you use an all-purpose needle on sequin, it's going to break or if you use like a ballpoint needle, it's going to break. So you have to make sure you're using like a heavy duty needle, or if you're working with denim, use a denim needle. If you're working with leather, use a leather needle. So use the needle that goes accordingly to what you are working with. And at Joanne Fabrics, they do have a lot of sections there where it has the threads listed for what you're working on. So they have like silk threads. So if you're working with silk, they have just a variety of what you need. So you can go there and even ask someone at the cutting counter, and they can point you to the right direction depending on what project you're working on, because I mean, the projects are endless. So
yeah, the only needles I have here are like the needles that came with the sewing machine.
So like the universal needle and the regular ballpoint.
I've already broke one of them.
Look at that one. Been there, done that.
Yeah.
I'm glad they have a variety of needles now. Great question, Diamond. I remember my sisters and I, when we were sewing, one in particular, we only had the one sewing machine, and Michael Jackson's concert was coming to the Tampa Bay area for the first time. Listen, girl, we had to make our hot pants outfit with the long maxi skirt. We were breaking those needles left and right. We didn't even know about the difference of the needles, and you could just hear, and I mean, it would make that crunk sound, bend. We try to straighten it back out and push it back, but nothing was going to stop us from completing those outfits to make that debut at the Michael Jackson concert. So now you can get a variety of needles, and they have so many, just like they have so many threads now. And I just think that's a denim needle.
Yes. Then they have your surgeon thread. They have so many different, and because I work primarily with, apparel and clothing, I don't really do a lot of heavy, I don't use a lot of heavy fabrics like what people would do in a different industry. I know they have, people make car seat covers and stuff like that. I can imagine that they would use heavier equipment and heavier things. So because I work with apparel, I stick with, sequin and silks, lightweight fabrics. I use the good lightweight threads and the heavy duty needle for the sequins and stuff like that. So
yeah, awesome. Any more questions, Diamond? The expert is in the house.
Okay, so what made you start your academy? How did you get into sewing? How did you go about this entire process?
So what made me start the academy was when I initially started sewing, which I know was definitely God that gave me the burden, to start the academy and to want to work with young girls. Because before I even knew really how to do everything with sewing, I told my mom, I said, I want to open my own storefront. And I want to open it. This was in 2016. And when I told her that it was around April, I was like, I would like to open a storefront this summer because I want to teach little girls how to sew. Keep in mind, I didn't really know everything about sewing. To this day, I really don't know everything, but I know enough, to do what I need to do and to be able to teach others. And every day I'm learning more and more. And I like to research. I read books. I have a book in front of me right now, which is called the Sewing Bible, which is filled with tons of information. But so I told my mom, I said, I want to open up an academy. And she was like, okay, it was crazy because of the amount of time and just trying to find a space, and it was just a lot. And so a lot took place between April and June. And by June, I was able to open up my first storefront space, which was located on Bush. Yes. And I held my first sewing camp, and I had about 10 girls. I want to say I had 10 girls during that time, and we just made pillows. We made very simple things. We made pillows, we made blankets, and just very simple sewing projects because I hadn't learned a lot as far as like clothing wise to teach them that yet. So I just started off with what I knew. And then the following year, I held another sewing camp. And then we started getting into making jackets and bags. And because of course my level for sewing had increased. And then the third year, which was in 2018, we had our first fashion show. And the girls made clothing, and they made dresses, they made skirts, whatever they wanted to make. I showed them how to make it and put out our patterns. The same thing that they're doing now. But what we're doing now is on a whole different level compared to what we did back in 2008. It's just way different. And looking back at the images of how it looked then and now is just mind-blowing to me. And so I officially named the camp, because it would just be whatever year it was, sewing camp. I officially named it So Fun Academy this year because I was like, you know what? I want to have an official academy. I want to work with schools. I want to have an after school program. I want to have a cafeteria. Like I have this whole vision of what I want to have because it is a lost art. And I just see how the girls that do attend my classes, how their lives have just changed tremendously. Like some of them have started their own business.
Hold that thought. Hold that thought because we're going to take a commercial break and we're going to come back and we're going to hear all about what she is doing and what's coming down the pipeline this week. So share this video. I want you guys to see these girls, love on these girls. When you see them, you hear about them later, support the website, do what we need to do to encourage these students at So Fun Academy. So we're going to see you back after the break. Back in a moment.
By now, we're all aware of the dangers of COVID-19. Like others with existing health issues, cancer patients are at a high risk due to their compromised condition. If you are newly diagnosed with cancer, your care likely can't wait. Moffitt Cancer Center is the best place for your cancer concerns and to provide guidance to help you plan your next steps. We're here for you. Call 1-888-456-2839 or go to moffitt.org/here for you.
Catch my show that will be all up in your business. Let's Talk Business with Cheryl J. Couture. Every Wednesday at 12:31 p.m. My business experts provide insight for business entities and entrepreneurs. So join us every Wednesday from 12:31 p.m. to 1:31 p.m. at www.intouchnews.com. Catch my show.
We're playing your favorite old school. Today's R&B. With a smooth touch of jazz. You're listening to In Touch Radio.
And we are back. Thank you so much for tuning in to Let's Talk Business with SJC. And here we are at the 4th hour of the show. Where did the summer month? June is gone. July, we're at the end. And we have just been so fortunate to have my co-host, Kylie Campbell O'Neill. In the first hour of this show, we got to see all of her students. And I'm telling you, they were on their game, girl. Kudos to you. And I'm watching these little ones with the sequins and the tulle fabric. Those were just fabrics we weren't even, exposed to back when I first started sewing. And I would love to have a refresher course. I must purchase that book because I never heard of that book. So the Sewing Bible, I need to have that in my library ASAP. But one of the things that I want to learn, Kalia, as you're putting together your thoughts for your schools, for your virtual classes, and that's to proficiently operate a serger machine.
Yes.
Because, to be able to hem with a serger and do your seams with a serger, oh my goodness. Mm-hmm. I can't wait. Have you learned to use a serger?
Yes, I have 3 sergers.
Oh my goodness, sign me up for that camp.
Yes, I love them. They make your garments look so professional. It looks store-bought. And so, yes, I love the serger machines and I love what it does to your fabric and just what it does to make it look professional.
Yes, and especially when you're doing the projects. To me, that's just one stitch for all stitches.
Yes.
And that cuts out. I remember when we used to have to go and, do all of our cutting and use your pinking shears and then go and try to protect your seams and putting, all kinds of glue and paste and stuff just to keep the threads. And so, but that serger takes care of everything.
So you don't need pinking shears when you have a surgery. And I'm laughing because before I knew how to use my surgery, I used pinking shears all the time. Denim and satin because I hated that ring and I hated how it looked when it didn't look finished. And so, yes, that is so funny. Yes.
Two things we picked up on and had to learn early on, and that was cutting on a bias. And if that fabric frayed, you either had to purchase some no fray glue or your pinking shears.
Yes.
Oh my goodness. I am looking forward to that class. So we got to kind of see a look in. So this is what, year number 3 with the camp or the academy?
Say it again.
Or year number 2? Is this year number 2 with the sewing academy?
No, this is year number 3.
3, okay, that's what I thought. Year number 3. So what happens? We're looking at these, and they look like they're going to a fashion show. They're making a garment to be debuted at a fashion show in New York on the runway.
Yes.
And so when they get to this, what happens? What's the end product? What do you put on to showcase their work?
So there will be a fashion show that's held for their parents and friends and family to come and to see what they've been working on for Fashion Week. And so, of course, initially before we start designing the gowns, I let the girls go ahead and sketch what they would like to make. They sketch, they color, all of that, whatever they want to make. And I take their pictures to Join Fabrics with me to find the fabrics that they need for their garments. Or if they want to go, because I like them to go as a little field trip, they'll go with their parents and they'll pick out what they need. I'll write, how many yards they need for each portion of their outfit. And so they'll do that. And then they'll bring it back. We'll come back, regroup, go over what we said we were going to do as far as the picture, with their picture and everything like that. And then if they have a pattern that they purchased, then they'll go ahead and cut out their pattern and get all of their pattern pieces together before laying it out on their fabric. If they don't have a pattern, then I'll create one for them. So I have several students that have patterns that they purchase, and then I have several students where I've just made a pattern for them to use for their outfit. And so for the last 2 weeks, they've been sewing their garments together. They've been hemming and stitching and making their bodies, circle skirts. It's so much that they have, going on, and their imagination is just amazing. And it's so funny to me. They'll start. I have one student, she's changed her dress like 4 times. And I'm like, listen, I know you're being creative, but we have to stick to the design that you originally, wanted. And at the end, we'll add to it. And so the fashion show is in 2 days, and I have about 3 or 4 students that will be done today. And then the rest probably will finish tomorrow, early morning Friday. And Friday will be the fashion show. They'll walk down the runway. They're going to talk about what inspired them to make their design. They'll talk about what they learned. Because during Sew Fun Academy, not only do we sew, but there's a lot of learning. Every day there's a lesson, and every day there's a test. And they hate the test because I test every single day. Yes. I test them on sewing machine parts, the different parts of the sewing machine. I test them on, body measurements. What is this called? What is this called? Your bust, waist, all of that. So they learn a lot over the time that they're here.
I have used this term before. I am so impressed with your curriculum and what you're teaching these kids, because I'm looking at a 5-year-old and a 13-year-old, and you're going to have them do presentations publicly about their designs.
Yes.
I would be under a bed at 5 years old trying to find a place, not me per se, but I think I came out of the womb talking. So we have this fashion show to look forward to. Are the tickets sold out, or are you maxed out, or because?
Yes, so the tickets is sold out. There is no more space available because the parents alone, their family members, it's just a lot of people that are coming just between the girls and their family and their friends. And so I had a few extra seats available that I opened up to people that donated. We had a lot of sponsors to sponsor students to come to the camp who were not able to, afford to come. I sponsor several students to come every year. And then I have other people that would like to sponsor or donate through our website to pay tuition for them to come for a week, 2 weeks, a month, is whatever they want to sponsor. So I invited them to come so they can see what their money went towards for the summer.
So you got a full house, but tell us so that those persons who are listening to the show, and maybe even not now, but they'll listen later, what does it cost to sponsor first the entire camp for a kid, and then what it is per week?
Okay, so to sponsor a student to come for the entire summer is $1,200, $1,200. For 1 month is $600, and per week it's $150. And that covers everything. Even if they don't have a sewing machine, I will provide one for them to work on. It covers their fabrics, it covers their supplies, it covers everything they need for the class. All they have to do is bring themselves and a lunch. That's it.
And the right attitude.
Right attitude. That is one of our rules. That is so funny you said that, because every day we go over rules. And one of the rules is, number one, you have to have a good attitude before walking in the door, because attitudes are contagious. And if you're having a bad morning, you have to pull Miss Kalia to the side and tell her what's going on before you come into the classroom. So that's funny that you said that. That's one of our rules.
Well, I'm not so much funny because I know a little bit about you and that Christian upbringing, girl, and from Vacation Bible School and Sunday School. A shout out to your parents, a shout out to your teachers, because they, oh my goodness, they did their work. And it's evident in what you're giving back to our children. And I cannot wait. My granddaughters will definitely be in your camp, and I will be there with them. I'll probably be a volunteer, but I am so excited. So we want you to find that bigger space so that more of our children can come. And I hope for your next fashion show, you'll open it up to where other parents can come and just get a glimpse of what our youth are doing.
Yes, I would love that.
Yeah, and I'm gonna tell you something else as a businesswoman. The next thing you'll pop, it's great to have the count, but as I look at you and the sponsors that you have to bring on in order to help these kids, the next thing that you're gonna have to think about is So Fun Academy Foundation.
Yes, ma'am. You're absolutely right.
So now we're getting ready. The fashion show, is the fashion show going to be streamed live?
So initially, the fashion show was not going to be streamed live, but I think that I will go live because this is going to be an amazing event, an amazing time. And I want everyone to be able to see what the girls, the work that they put in. I have several people that watch my stories every day. And my mom is always saying, you know, because my mom works with me, she's always saying, hey, make sure you're videotaping it so that when they can see the end product, when it's the fashion show, when it's coming up. And so I have several viewers every day, up to 600 people that are watching my stories every day to see what the girls are doing. And so I want them to be able to see the end product and then walking down the runway and just what they worked on. So yes, we will be live.
Absolutely. I'm so glad I am going to be there. I am looking forward to meeting all of the girls in person. I think what you are doing is an amazing element for our students, our schools, our communities, for the daughters and the parents together. I remember my daughter, I taught my daughter how to sew, and she probably had a couple of sewing machines, and she ended up with one just like mine, an Athena 2000. I'm not sure what it's called today. It was, I call it the state-of-the-art sewing machine at the time. But that being said, I remember, just like your girl, she's artistic. So she sketched out the gown she wanted to make for homecoming. And she sketched her gown, went shopping for the fabric, and she started piecing it together. And I was loving the colors. And I said, hey, what's going on? You know, your time is running out here. I don't like that. I want to start over. My first thought was, start over. Girl, this is some expensive fabric you just purchased. But we have to encourage them. And sometimes if that's not quite what they saw, or once they start putting it together, the sketch isn't what they wanted it to be. And so they want to start with something different. But I was so impressed, and I kept the sketch, I kept the fabric, and then she went a totally different route. But in the end, still beautiful. And I love that. And if you have, if not this show or one of your other shows, show us some of their sketches. Or will you have the sketches at the fashion show on Friday night so we can see the process of the beginning stages and then the final?
Yes.
I love that. I love that. Well, I am looking forward to that. I'm going to now turn back to our student for First Stitch. So now that you've heard her dreams, hearing Kalia talk about wanting to start the So Fun Academy, Miss Diamond, would you be interested in taking a virtual sewing course?
Yes, definitely. I've actually been looking into taking some courses. just so I can get a little bit better and perfect my craft. And my goal is to potentially start a business, but I want to start my business not necessarily with making clothes necessarily, maybe like for myself personally, but I actually want to start a business where I will be making wigs on the sewing machine. So that's my goal. So I'm trying to, perfect it and make sure that I'm following all the necessary steps. But I do think purchasing a new sewing machine is probably going to be one of the first major steps I take in regards to really taking that uh, venture. Like I've already made a logo. I already came up with a name. So, I'm really just trying to get serious about it and really like focus on perfecting.
I love that. Now her postgrad, her degree, clinical psychology, but you can hear the creativity coming out of her. Anyone that loves fashion and loves to design, and you've already got that thought process going. One of the things, Diamond, I could think about growing up was I don't care where we went. If it was a thrift store, we looked for a piece of fabric. I mean, my mom, I told you all on the last show, would just take a dress and take that bodice off. And next thing you know, you got 2.5 yards of fabric, maybe 3 from all of those gathers, wash it, press it. And we had outfits. And you can just look at any type of fabric. And the fabric is so vast today. The textures, the structure, everything is just, fabric is on your wall, it's in your paintings. And we're going to have a guest coming on the show down the pipeline. And Kalia, you're going to love this. They do, it's kind of like being a Millery and an artist, a lover of hats, and they do the diva, and they put the hats on her, and then they just make amazing designs from that. And many are framed, but they're absolutely beautiful. I have so many hats, and I've been wondering, what can I do? I've given away tons, I've donated tons, but it still looks like I've got a ton of hats. But I think they give me an idea of how I can mesh several of them together into a design and have it as a keepsake. So now you've heard from Diamond. So, Kalia, what would you say to a novice wanting to? They kind of like the idea, not sure what to do with it. What would you say to them?
So I would say to start off with doing some research with sewing, maybe find some YouTube videos that piques your interest. So for instance, Diamond likes wigs. So I would start off with going on YouTube and looking at wig making and how to properly construct a wig from the portion of making your cap all the way to cutting the wefts, sewing the wefts together and structuring it. And if you like that, the process for that, then I guarantee when you start sewing, you'll love the process of actually doing it hands-on, which is how I started sewing. I started sewing by watching YouTube tutorials first. And it was almost an entire year before I even touched the sewing machine to know if this was something that I really wanted to do. And so the same thing with someone, if you're interested in something, go ahead first and do your research and see if it's something that you really want to get into before investing a lot of money. And then you have the machine or you have the materials and everything that you wanted, that you need to start. And then you don't even start because you're like, oh, I really don't want to do it. So you research first and see like all the hard work that's put in to do what needs to be done, then you'll see whether or not it's something that you want to do. And so with wig making, it is tedious and there's a lot of steps, but the end product and the money that you can save by making your own wigs is amazing. So I would say really do your research.
I definitely started watching YouTube videos. I've started following certain people on Instagram. What products are they buying? They measuring the circumference of the head, and it's an entire process. But I will ask you, what do you know about sewing now that you wish you knew when you started?
Ooh.
Okay, man, so much. I would say something that I wish I knew initially would be, I would say pattern making, working with patterns, and just learning more about fabrics and what you can do with fabrics. To this, like right now, currently, I really don't use patterns. And it's just because I never had an interest to sit down and like read patterns. Working with the girls have forced me to get into patterns because they don't have that level of skill to sit down and just cut out a bodice or cut out their skirt. They have to have something to use, a template to use to work with. And so I wish when I started out that I started out using patterns, because patterns are very, very helpful. And you can create so many different things. You can tweak a pattern. You can take this pattern and do this and do that. And so I wish that I did start out with using patterns. Because even now when I help them, sometimes I may have to take a minute and say, okay, sit down, let me take this and sit down and read this really quick, or look this up really quick, because it's not something that I started out with. And I'll tell them, okay, I don't know. Wait 1 second. I have a problem with telling them that, because I want them to know I'm not perfect. Like, I'm learning. I'm still learning, and you're learning with me as I'm learning to teach you. And so, or I'll tell them, come on, let's read it together. You read this portion, I'll read this portion, and tell me what you got from it, and I'll tell you what I got from it. So that's one of the things that I wish that I had. And also, I would say I wish I had a mentor, someone that could have mentored me personally, like that hands-on, like what I'm giving to them. I wish that I had that. I didn't have it, but I had God, though. God is the best teacher. When I didn't know what I was doing, I have to say that every single time I looked up to God and I prayed to God, he helped me get through every project, every assignment, whatever I had to do, God helped me through that. And God is the best teacher. But I also wish I did have someone, in person as well. So I have to say those are two of the most important things that I would say that I wish I had learned or had when I first started out sewing.
That's a great question, Diamond, because as I'm listening to her, what is it that we as individuals, business owners, and particularly my sister business owners, that we can do to mentor these girls and to support you with your business? But if you had an ask, what would it be to the community?
I would say that's a good question. To spread the word and just be supportive and to look for the needs in the community for young people. So instead of I've noticed with students, when they're idle or they don't have something to do, they find ways to get in trouble, or they find ways to get into things they don't have any business getting into, or to be grown, as the people would say. So I feel like if, the community came together to find, even if it's not someone, to find something for our youth to be committed to and dedicated to, and put their time into them, then we would have a lot of successful youth starting young at 5 years old, so helping them to open up and explore their talents and their giftings. That's what we really need. And I just feel like there's a lot of programs out there like this My Sewing Academy that need support from the community, and not just being an onlooker, but just actually saying, what can I do to help? Because I don't really have a lot of people that would say, what can I do to help? They'll see I'm doing the camp. Can I donate some thread? Can I donate some? Because this camp is not for me to make a profit. If you think about it, $150 per week to cover supplies, to cover materials, to cover everything that they need I'm not making a profit from this. This is something for me to pour back into the community to help them for their future. They're learning how to be an entrepreneur. Their self-esteem is going through the roof because look what I did. Look what I have girls that came to this class when they first came in, they didn't even talk. Now they're talking and they're making friends, and I'm getting emotional, I'm sorry. And they're making friends, and I'm seeing their lives be transformed. And so that's what this is all about.
I love it. And you go ahead and you get emotional, because that's been our appeal. I said it. I asked the question because I want our community, I want us to step up. I want us to sponsor kids, because you're so SCW, but you are sewing. You are sewing into these youth. They will always remember this class, and they're going to remember you telling them this or that, or your hands, you're touching, you're feeling them. You are in their space as well as in their face. And that's incredible. All of our youth need mentors, but not just someone talking, someone walking the talk. And I always say to people, put your money where your mouth is. If you really, really love something, invest in it. And that's all we can do. And to raise this next generation, we can help them make their first stitch. There's a couple of girls, we featured two of your students, and I want you to talk a little bit about both of them. And we've got today, she's on the flyer today, and she's just so precious, Julie. Julie Joseph is the bomb, but then you had your other student as well. So I think we have her dress, or yeah, we do. Ricky, if you would put that up, because we've got two of your students, and talk to us about both of them as the pictures come up. Kylie, who we looking at?
So this is Lindsay Holloway. She's 13, and she started sewing last year during my sewing camp that I hosted last year during COVID. And so I met a lot of the students that I have now last year during COVID. It's like right in the heart of COVID. The parents are like, you guys going to sewing camp, mask up, you're going to be okay. And we were sewing. And so in this picture, Lindsay made this dress for me. I actually wore it to church. That's my dress. And I told her that I wanted a dress made. Now, let me share something. I've never had a custom made garment made for myself before. So she was the first person to make me my very first custom made garment. And I wore that dress. So I was so proud when I went to church and someone said, I love it. My student made it before they could even get it out. My student made it. I had some people say, oh yeah, I saw it on Facebook. I'm like, yeah, my student made it. She's 13 years old and she made it today. She made it today during class. And so Lindsay, when she came, she started out making masks and bonnets and accessories and scrunchies, and she actually has her own business. The name of her business is Lindsay Madison Creations, and she sells masks, she sells scrunchies, she makes dresses, she makes bonnets. She can pretty much make anything. She reminds me of myself. She's very fast. When I tell her to do something, she's on it within seconds. She sews very, very well. And she's not here currently, but I know she'll be back for our Saturday sessions. She's also a cheerleader. She does a lot. She's into skating. She's into so much. She's very multi-talented. And so she definitely reminds me of myself. When people come, they actually say she looks like me. I had one lady come in and she's like, is that your sister? And I was like, no, she's my student. But yes, Lindsay is an amazing student, and I'm so glad to have her a part of my team. She's one of my assistants. When she is here, she helps assist with the new students that come in to help them.
Well, listen, congratulations, Lindsay. With the couple of minutes we have left, tell us a little bit about Julie, and then we'll go into actually, you're going to be streaming the fashion show so live. The tickets are sold out, so we don't have to make mention of that. But go ahead and close us out with Miss Julie.
So Julie is my other assistant, and she's been here as well. She started coming during the Saturday lessons, and then also during COVID. And Julie is also an amazing seamstress. One thing I love about Julie is that she's going to take her time. Other students will fly by and they may sew fast, but Julie is going to take her time. It's neat. It's professional. She has a very, very, very sweet spirit. Her mom is super, super sweet. Her mom has poured into her, and her mom supports her in being a part of this academy. And I love the appreciation that she shows towards me and my mom. She'll buy us gifts. She just does so much to support not only us, but also the other students that come to the camp. She'll bring Lysol wipes, whatever we need. She is that mom that is just so supportive.
Now, did she make this outfit on the?
Yeah, she made that outfit.
Did she make that?
Yeah, she made that. She was the Little Mermaid for our tea party. She was Ariel for our tea party. And she made a mermaid skirt and a, can't really see. She made a flounce top. Yes. And that was
absolutely beautiful. Well, let me take this opportunity. Oh, look, there she is. She made this yellow dress.
That's the lemon dress that she made over the weekend and wore to camp that Monday. She didn't have my help at all. She did that all by herself.
I love these girls. Again, I love what you're doing. Thank you. Congratulations to Lindsay. Congratulations to Julie, to Mila, Leah, and all of the students. Congratulations. I'm looking forward to seeing you all on Friday at your fashion show. Diamond, I'm so glad you had the opportunity. Thank you for bringing your machine in, and you were stitching it, girl.
Yes.
And to my co-host, we look forward to what's coming down the pipeline in the month of August. Yes. As a matter of fact, when I first saw Lindsay's design, and when you said Lindsay, and I said, oh, Lindsay will be commissioned to make me a dress, and we will see that coming down later. But I thank you all. I appreciate what you're doing to this community, for this community. And I'm so excited. I want to see all of these girls on Friday. I thank God for what he's pouring into you and how you're giving it back. And that's what we have to do. You'll hear me say it over and over again. So I am hoping that those that are listening to the show today, please share this video. If she's got 600 people following just the sewing of the classes, imagine if we all just shared it 6 times.
Yeah.
Help this to go viral so she'll get more volunteers. Find the building, get some more help, so tons of students will be able to come through the Sew Fund Academy.
Yes,
I appreciate you all, and I look forward to seeing you in a month. To my co-host Kylie, to Diamond, who we won't see on the show in August, this show is a wrap. Thank you guys.